My sister is getting on my nerves. She's addicted to partying. She thinks that she can just drop her kids off at my house and I'm going to watch after them. Well, I am not going to let that fly, so I decide to call the police on her for child endangerment. My sister pulled the most outrageous stunt on me after I spent over a week in the hospital for a broken leg. For some context, my sister married young, at just 20 years of age, and has been with her husband for 12 years. She's been married to her husband for 10 years now, and they have 3 children, a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 4-year-old. And my sister is a trophy wife and a stay-at-home mother. When she's not chasing after her kids, she's out with friend groups and also a bunch of trophy wives, sipping on some mocktails and gossiping. Her husband's family is rich, so she's never had to lift a finger for anything except for the kids. Her husband refuses to get a nanny because he doesn't believe in having strangers raise or influence children. So, when the kids are home and my sister wants to go anywhere, she has to find a babysitter. Usually, this would be our parents. However, Mom and Dad are moving south as they retire, and they sold our childhood home in favor of something small and packed up the car and moved on to greener pastures. I'm happy for them. They deserve all the rest that they can get, and now this has become an interesting conundrum for my sister because she doesn't have free babysitters anymore. On top of that, it's summertime, so the kids are at home and she's miserable because she can't go gallivanting around with her friends. Let me just say something, and this might be a bit controversial, but if you're a person who likes the freedom of leaving and arriving at your house when and how you please, just don't have children until you get all of that out of your system. Because, well, they will throw a wrench in your freedom. My sister was calling my mom every other day, begging her to visit for a week so she could, quote, have a little me time. Somebody suggested that she put the kids in summer camp, but her husband refused, because summer and winter holidays were the only time that he could spend a lot of time with them. With school and extracurricular activities taking up their time during the term. Then there's me. I've been childless for my entire adulthood. I work. I have my own place, make my own money, and mind my own business. I see my sister and her kids at family functions, mostly their birthdays. We did not have the best relationship growing up since she was 5 years older than me. It's not so bad when you're both really young, but when you get into the mid-teenage years, you really start to grow apart. It also did not help that she married young. I was in high school at the time, so we fell worlds apart. When I was in college, she was pregnant with her first child. When I graduated with my degree in finance, she did not even come to the graduation because she was busy being a parent, which I never blamed her for. I was always a bit of a loner, and my parents were always super supportive. And to their credit, they weren't crazy about my sister marrying young. They asked her repeatedly if she wanted to wait, but once she was locked into marriage and kids, she would not be able to enjoy her young adulthood. But my sister had stars in her eyes and wasn't really looking at the big picture. Now, that she wants to be out with her friends and enjoy a bit of life, she can't because she has 3 other humans to worry about. So, how did I get saddled with this responsibility? Well, it started about a month ago when my sister started calling me up, saying that my nieces and nephews missed me and she asked if she could drop them off on the weekend. I told her no, I work Monday to Friday, so Saturday and Sunday are the only days I have for stuff like laundry and errands. She told me I was being selfish and unfair to her kids, and first of all, I talk to my nieces and nephews all the time, especially the eldest, and she has an iPad, so she FaceTimes me all the time when she sees me online. My sister, she just doesn't really pay much attention. Anyways, I popped in unannounced that Saturday to say hi to the kids. I told them I dropped by just because their mother said they missed me. And the oldest said that she never said anything about missing me. So, of course, my sister gave her a dirty look. Anyways, my sister asked, since I was already there, if I minded keeping an eye on them just for 20 minutes while she ran an errand. I said no, because I had a hair appointment I needed to get to, and it had a hefty late fee and an even heftier cancellation fee. She offered to pay it for me if I could just do it this one little favor. Again, I refused because I've been trying to get an appointment at this place for weeks, and my hair was in desperate need of rejuvenation. So, I got out of there fast as I could, and before anyone says anything, I love my nieces and nephews, but being an auntie and childless doesn't mean I signed up to be a babysitter. I take my quote me time very seriously. I had the sneaking suspicion that since my parents were in another state, my sister was looking for someone else to shirk her responsibilities. She was just waiting for the perfect opportunity, and that opportunity came about a week later. I was at work, headed down from my office to the ground floor for a meeting, and I was going to take the elevator, but it was a bit too crowded, you see, and I didn't want to wait, so I took the stairs. When I was on the last flight, I slipped and fell down, and I ended up with a broken leg. People have complained about those stairs before, about how they were uneven, slippery, but I guess they did not want to spend the money to fix it. Well, I remember that at the bottom I could not feel my leg. A bunch of my coworkers gathered around and somebody called an ambulance. They rushed me into surgery because it was a compound fracture, and the bone had nicked an artery. I have metal in my leg now holding my bones together and will have to do extensive physical therapy once the cast comes off. I had a couple of other bumps and bruises from my fall and a mild concussion, but thankfully nothing life-threatening. My company's CEO called me to apologize for what happened and just simply make sure that I was okay. He assured me that they'd foot the entire hospital bill and I'd get another call from him to discuss further action once I'm settled at home. But guess who else came to visit? That's right, my sister, her husband, and their kids. The kids brought me get well soon cards, which I thought was super cute. I still had to stay in the hospital for a while longer, just to be safe. When they cleared me to go home, they made sure to tell me to stay off my feet as much as I could and keep my leg elevated. I got some crutches to help me move around the house when I needed to, and my mom called me and asked if I needed her to come down to help me out until I recovered. I strongly considered it, but turned her down because I knew my sister would use this as an excuse to drop her kids off at my place and have our mom be her babysitter. In hindsight, I should have just let her go anyways. A week after I got home from the hospital, my sister showed up unannounced at my apartment with her kids, saying they just came to stop by and say hi and see how I was doing. I told her it was a bad time because I was hopped up on painkillers and very sleepy since it's so uncomfortable to sleep with my feet propped up. She said, "Oh, that's fine. They would not be there for too long," and next thing I know, she walks out of the room with my niece, saying she needs to, quote, wash her hands. Well, my niece runs back in and says, "Mommy's gone." I was livid. I'm still mad just thinking about it, so I grab my phone and try to call her, but she doesn't answer. I tried to reach her husband, but he's at work, so of course he's not answering. I tried calling my parents even, just to tell them about the situation. My mom, she's understandably furious, and she said that she tried to reach my sister, but even she could not get through. I told my niece to take her brothers to the other room and turn on the TV for them. Not even 5 minutes later, I was there and hearing screaming, crying, and breaking. I grabbed my crutches and headed out there, but the moment I stepped out of the room, my crutch slipped. I landed on my side. My bad side. Pain shot up and down my leg from the impact, and I could not move for a good 10 minutes. And meanwhile, the kids were still in the background screaming, and I managed to crawl back into my room and get on the bed, but my leg was throbbing. I called my niece into the room to find out what's happening, and the 4-year-old was having a meltdown because he did not want to watch what they had on the television. I put Bluey on my old laptop for him to watch, and they seemed to keep the quiet for a bit. My mom called me an hour later and said she did not get a hold of my sister, but did get a hold of her husband, and he was going to try to find her. It took another hour, but she finally came back for the children. I did not apologize or anything, I just packed them up and left. My mom and dad called her and absolutely chewed her out for what she did. She made up some dumb excuse about me being home all day with nothing to do anyways and that I hardly spent time with my siblings. Mom asked again if I wanted her to come, and I told her no. Because of that, it would just be another fight with my sister that I did not have the bandwidth to deal with. I just hope she doesn't pull another stunt like this. What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. I hope you're having a great day. I found 2 of the top comments from the original post. Let's go ahead and read these comments and before we jump into the update. And if you want to support the channel, the best way to do it is simply clicking that subscribe button. Here's comment number 1. Jesus Christ. This is going to sound harsh, but your sister need not be a parent at this point. What she did was extremely irresponsible and put both of you and her kids in danger. And what does she mean you barely spend any time with them? You work 9 to 5, heck. I work 9 to 5 and I barely have enough time to hang out with the people I want to, much less children, who require way more work and energy than I do. I need people to understand, and no one is responsible for their children but them. If anything had gone wrong, she would have been held responsible, not you. I'm glad your parents are on your side and hopefully managed to talk some sense into her. I also hope your job's working out something to help you through your recovery, since it was their negligence that led you there. Anyways, feel better soon. Comment number 2. OP, I think you need to reevaluate your attitude towards kids. Like, I understand why you don't want children, but you have a horrible attitude as the same people that are child-free who attacked at the mere mention of children. Also, are we not going to talk about the husband refusing to get a nanny? He's part of the problem. Why would he not want to give his wife a break? What do they do when they want to have a date night or time alone with each other? It sounds like her husband does not help out at all. So maybe you should talk about that instead of your sister being, quote, irresponsible. Maybe your sister is tired and needs a break. Update number 1. Hey guys, well, it's been over a week since the original incident, and I have the wildest update for all of you. First of all, I'm back in the hospital, but we'll get to that later. This happened today, and the only reason I'm posting this update is because all I can do is lie here and worry. I was lying in bed after taking my morning painkillers. I get a call from my landlord telling me some kids were hanging out outside my apartment door, and I get up to go look, and lo and behold, my sister's kids are there. They said their mom dropped them off and left. I get them inside and told them to sit down and be quiet and went back to my room, but as soon as I got through the door, excruciating pain ran up my leg. I fell but managed to catch myself on the bed. The pain was so bad I thought that I was going to black out. I managed to grab my phone and dial help, and they sent an ambulance. Then I called my mom. I was in so much pain I could barely talk, but I managed to tell her about the situation. She stayed on the phone with me until the paramedics arrived, and the whole time my dad was trying to reach my sister in the background. My leg was swollen, and the part about the cast was bulging over it. It kind of looked like a squeezed balloon. My mom spoke to the paramedics, and they told her the kids could not ride in the ambulance with me, so they'd have to stay at the apartment alone. She spoke to my niece and told her to lock the door, do not answer it, and don't make a ruckus. I got put on a stretcher and shoved into the back of the ambulance, and when I got to the hospital, they had to cut my cast off quick. My leg was all red and swollen, and I had an infection. They put me on some strong antibiotics and painkillers, and, well, I was finally able to get some rest. I tried calling my mom before I dozed off to see if she got a hold of my sister, but the line was busy. When I woke up, there was a bunch of messages and missed calls on my phone. My 7-year-old nephew is missing. He opened up the door and left while my niece had the 4-year-old in the bathroom, and up to this point, no one knows where he is. When my niece saw he was gone, she dialed help, and the police came and took her and the 4-year-old to the station. Their dad came and picked them up from there, and they're still out looking. I spoke to my mom, and she and my dad would be on the next flight tomorrow morning. They were so mad at my sister for pulling a stunt like this. When they talked to her, she said that she was having an emergency, but I'm not buying it. My sister's emergencies amount to some juice morsel of gossip that her friends just have to tell her about. I want to be mad at her. And I guess there'll be a plenty of time for that later, but right now, I'm just hoping that they find my nephew safe. I'm stuck in this hospital until they get my infection under control, so there's nothing I can do. Update number 2. Good news, everyone. They found my nephew. I got the news about 2 hours after my last update, and all the kids are at home safe. I'm also home now after a week in the hospital, and my parents will be in town for at least another 2 weeks to help me out. Since I had to be rushed to the hospital, a lot's happened, but I want to clear the air on some things before I give a proper update. My sister's husband is a good dad. He helps out with kids and probably spends way more time with them than she does. During the school year, he drops them off and picks them up because their schedule match his. He helps them out with homework and projects, and they have a housekeeper, so the only housework my sister has to do is the occasional cooking and dishes. The summer is the only time my sister has to take care of them because they're home all day. But as soon as their dad gets home, he takes over. On the weekends, he takes them out of the house to events, the park, fun days, etc. Let me reiterate that my sister hardly has to do anything. The kids are in school more than they're at home, so she can lounge and gallivant for 8 months a year and only has to actively be a parent for 4 of them. This is all the information I got from my mom. So, in regards to my situation, my work has given me indefinite leave with full pay, benefits, and bonuses. They're footing the entire bill, including physical therapy, after which I can work from home until I'm back to 100%. I'm going to be out for at least 5 months, though, because my fracture was bad. On to the update. Because of what happened, Child Protective Services are looking into my sister, and they actually called me to ask a few questions. They said my sister told them that I said she could bring the kids over and downplayed the severity of my injury. I can move around my place fine. I have in-suite bathrooms, and I've been ordering a lot of ready-made meals so I can just pop them into the microwave and cook them with Chef Mike. I'm never on my feet for more than 10 minutes, and I told them that was not the case, because if she told me she was bringing the kids, I would have told her not to. My leg is in a cast, and I have very limited mobility. They told me not to worry about it. I was not in any sort of trouble. They just wanted to understand the full scope of the situation, so I told them everything that happened from my perspective. There's also whispers of divorce in the air. My sister's husband is absolutely furious about this. He called me to apologize for what happened and sent me some ice cream for my troubles. I don't know exactly what my sister was doing after she dropped the kids off, but I've been told it was no emergency. Whether or not the divorce rumors are serious, I don't know. But, well, I would not blame my sister's husband for going that route. This was a colossal screw-up on her part. Update number 3. Apparently, my sister's been blaming all of this on me. She said that I made my infection up so that I have an excuse to leave the kids alone in the house and, quote, teach her a lesson. Well... And she said even if I did have an infection, I could have just asked one of my neighbors to watch the kids. There's only 2 apartments in my building. One upstairs and one downstairs, and the upstairs has been empty for a month because my landlord's renovating it. Also, she wanted me to leave her kids with a complete stranger. What kind of mother allows that? She's been slandering me about our other family members, but thankfully, my parents are setting the record straight, so... Now, the same family members she's tried to get in her corner are turning on her. And if that wasn't enough, we've had journalists try to interview us about what happened. There was a cover story in the local newspaper about the incident, and it's been such a mess. My dad asked a cop friend of his to look into the case that Child Protective Services was building a case against my sister. The cops are involved, since this could count as criminal negligence and child endangerment depending on what they find. And they found a whole lot. Apparently, they already have her phone records, and they know that she was lying about her so-called emergency. One of the ladies from her friend group had called her to say that they were meeting at some cafe in town to discuss whatever the gossip of the day was. There was no record of her asking me or anyone to babysit. They also asked my landlord for video camera footage of the outside of the building that morning. It shows my sister pulling up to the curb, letting the kids out, then driving off. The kids were out of there for almost 20 minutes before my landlord and his renovation crew pulled up and called me. They also have footage of my nephew leaving the apartment and wandering down the street. Dad's friend said that with the amount of damning evidence, there's a strong chance that the kids will be taken away. The best case scenario is that her husband is going to be allowed to keep them, but even that's up in the air. The amount of embarrassment my sister's husband has suffered because of this mind-blowing, his company is, which is jointly owned by his immediate family and had to hire a PR firm to do damage control and calm down their partners and investors. Luckily, the story is only contained in our county and has not gotten national attention, but I can't imagine how stressful this has been for him. I've been watching all of this unfold from the sidelines while I slowly recover. My infection has cleared up and the pain in my legs has gotten a lot less intense. I think I'm finally on the road to recovery. Update number 4. Sorry it took so long for me to post this update, guys. I've been busy with physical therapy, trying to get back on my feet, literally. I also started working from home this week, and it's going really well, but on to the lighter bits. My sister's been formally charged with criminal child neglect and reckless endangerment of a minor. Her court date has not been set, and, I believe she was denied bail because the judge deemed her a flight risk. Her husband got to keep the kids, and it's been confirmed that they're getting a divorce. He plans to move across the country to live closer to his parents and take over the branch of their company there. I'm not sure if they've left yet or not, but school's starting up soon again, so if they're not gone now, they'll probably be gone soon. The last time we spoke, I told him to make sure that he gets the kids into some therapy, because I'm sure this whole thing has been quite traumatizing for them. My parents have been in constant contact with my sister. She's sitting in jail while she awaits her trial date. My mom said my sister had to sell most of her stuff in order to be able to afford a lawyer, since she had no real savings. All of her money came from allowances from her husband, which abruptly stopped after the incident. He also sold the house, so she had nowhere to store all her belongings anyways. She has been calling family members and asking them to put money on her books, which is apparently the way you give money to people in jail, so they're able to buy things in food and toiletries. I know nothing about prison, thank God. My dad's cop friend said that with all the evidence they stacked up against her, she was almost sure to spend some time behind bars. I just hope she's learned her lesson after all this. It feels like my sister never really grew up because once she got married, everything was just handed to her. Part of me feels really bad for her, but the other part just wants her to make better choices. Hopefully, she's able to get a fresh start after all of this just blows over. Top comments from the last update. Holy crap, I can't believe she just dropped them off at your house and drove with zero explanation. How did she think that would even end it out? I mean, it's a good thing your landlord showed up and saw them outside, or things could have gotten a lot worse. I'm glad that they found your nephew safe. That must have been terrifying. And how dare your sister have the audacity to blame you for her own selfish and harebrained decisions? When you sign up to be a parent, you sign up all the responsibility when something happens to your kids. She should have just heeded your parents' warnings about getting married and having kids young. Maybe if she waited until she was a little older, she could have gotten all the partying and socializing out of her system before trying to settle down. This is why I've always advocated for people to not marry until they're around 30, because at least by then they'll have some things figured out. Comment number 2. No, OP, your sister was right. You could have done more. You said your landlord was working on renovation upstairs. Why didn't you just ask him to look out for the kids while he was still there? Or better yet, don't you have any friends or family members you could have called to come over and watch the place until someone got a hold of your sister? I feel like both of you and your parents should have fought harder to not leave them there alone. And after reading the whole situation, it does seem like you guys were trying to teach your sister a lesson and almost got your nephew hurt because of it. I really hope you take the time to reflect on what happened and your role in making it all happen, because you're not as guiltless as you're making yourself seem in the story, bro. So the comment section was having a lot of fun with this one. They were simply not happy with Taylor, saying mostly how if you're not going to be there for the children and raise them and not put them in harm's way, you just shouldn't have a kid. And I have to agree that this mother was very unresponsible. What do you guys think of it? What would you have done differently? Say for instance you were in OP's position and you were stuck between a rock and a hard place and had to do something about it. Let me know your course of action and how you go about handling it. Guys, thank you for joining me on today's story. I hope you enjoyed it. My name's Mr. Reddito. I narrate stories every single day about similar topics of drama, so if you guys enjoyed it, the best way to see more is simple. Hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and remember, it's cool to be kind. See ya.